Well, hello. Thank you. Oh, this is so awesome. I got to tell you, now that I'm in my second term, I'm starting to get used to giving speeches. In fact, that was one of the reasons that when I was back home in Dunn, North Carolina, and working in our community and a part of our Chamber of Commerce, and our Chamber of Commerce president came to me and said, Renee, we want you to be president-elect and then president the following year. And I said, no, no, no. I can't do that. I'm too afraid of public speaking. Now I'm starting to get used to it, but now that I'm looking out in the crowd and seeing all you wonderful women, you got me nervous. Performing in front of women is you know how we are. But it is awesome to be here. Had some trouble with travel plans this morning, but I am finally here, so I hope I didn't mess up your schedule too much. Thank you. And where's North Carolina? Where are you? And hey, you. Yes. And I gotta put a shout out to Kentucky because I did live in Louisville, Kentucky for a couple of years as well. And Michigan, if Michigan is here. But listen, I don't want to I know you all have very, very important work to do, so I am really here to give you a little bit of an update of what we're doing in Washington. Right now, things, as you know, are incredibly crazy. They're crazy. We are up against a time period now where we have two complete and total ideologies up against each other. We've got conservatism, free market, against the president's ideology of progressive liberalism. And it's coming to a head. As we all know, October 1st, Obamacare exchanges are supposed to be ready to go up. Well, let me tell you, one, they're not ready. And but they're going to move forward on it. And so as you all know, we've worked very hard at repealing. And there again, just this week, once more, we put forward a measure to defund Obamacare and pass the continuing resolution to keep the federal government running. It's one of those things. The president has been aware of how dangerous it would be to defund Obamacare at the federal level. So they have taken great steps to put measures in place to protect it at all costs. So even within a federal government shutdown, Obamacare will still be funded. And I know that's hard to believe, but just as we hold the purse in the purse strings, if we fail to continue to make sure that our military families receive their pay and that our senior citizens receive their Social Security checks on time, the president will be poised and ready to make a government shutdown as painful as possible. And he will continue to fund Obamacare and what he deems is essential. And I will guarantee you, he will make it hurt all of us as Republicans. And that's why it's so incredibly important that what we do from here on out, as we have done already, is in a way that is very smart and very strategic. Obamacare is obviously, as you all know, you understand completely how devastating it is economically, devastating to our health care, devastating to our seniors, and those that they say it will most help. It's the people who need it the most, the health care the most, that will be harmed the most. And that's why we're fighting so hard. And the good news, that's the bad news. The good news is that just this week also I was part of an 8-person member group from the Republican Study Committee, headed up by Dr. Phil Rowe, that put out another replacement plan. Essentially a replacement plan to Obamacare, and it is filled with the essential pieces of health care coverage that will take care of patients, that will continue that patient-doctor relationship. It's not a government-run program. This is made up of all the pieces that we've listened to the American people on. It basically takes care of coverage. It promotes health care savings. It promotes responsibility, individual responsibility for your health care. All of these things, buying insurance across state lines, tort reform, liability reform for physicians, all of the things that we've needed. And the most interesting thing about it, I think, is that, you know, what was Obamacare? 2,700 pages, and what did Nancy Pelosi say? Oh, we have to pass this so that we know what's in it. Our plan, our replacement plan, is 181 pages right now. And it is filled with all of the solutions. And the best part about it is you can read it, you can critique it, you can give your opinion of it so that we know how to improve it from here on out. You can go to rsc.house.gov or hashtag a better way, rsc.house.gov or hashtag a better way to learn about this plan. It is sensible, it is filled with healthcare solutions, and it is a workable system. And I think that's what the American people are looking for. You know, as Republicans, we're completely against Obamacare going forward, but there are a lot of people in this country who kind of fit in the middle there, and they say, well, you know, we know Obamacare is not going to be good for the workforce, we know that it's going to harm health care, but gosh, if we get more people on health care coverage, isn't that a good idea? Well, that's the compromise, but it isn't a good idea. And the thing that we haven't done up to this point is provide an alternative. And now we have it. I fully support it, and we will move forward on it. And I believe it will be an essential part of what we do in the future that will be positive. That will be positive. You know, so much of what we do is just fighting the overregulation, the agenda that Barack Obama puts in place. I'm ready to start talking about the future. I'm ready to start talking about positive action to grow this healthy economy, to return back to the prosperity that we've all known so well. And we've got to get back there, and this is a perfect start. Thank you. Yes. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be wonderful to be talking about growing the economy instead of continuously hitting it as the president does? You know, one of the other things that, or actually a couple of other things that I'm working on, especially as I know how important it is to be working with women and to be engaging women and to be improving what we do so that we can win back. If you remember in the 2012 election, you know, North Carolina, we voted for Mitt Romney for president. We did not vote for Barack Obama. But unfortunately, there were many in this country who did vote for Barack Obama. Many of those were women. And if you broke down issue by issue, they were with us. They were with Republicans on the issue. They care about the price of gas. They're worried about health care for their children and their family. They're worried about how they're going to make the budget next month. And they're staying up late at night at their kitchen tables trying to figure it out. They're with us on the issue. But when you ask them who cared about you, they said Barack Obama, and that's why I voted for him. I know. But unfortunately, that's the truth. And that's what we have to do a little bit better job of. And I know you are. And the work that you do, I know I was listening to some of the work that you were already doing just backstage. It's so important. You're the ones who get out the vote. You're the ones who work the polls. You're the ones who help message. And our messaging does have to be very positive, but very important. We have to be reaching out to everyone. I know that we can get more women into our party, but also voting with us. You know, there's nothing that we can't do if we work together. And this is an issue that is essential for us in the elections coming up. You know, there's nothing that Barack Obama wants to do more than win back the House in 2014. There's nothing he wants more to maintain his Senate majority. But you know, if we can win that Senate majority back, especially in North Carolina, Kay Hagan is up for re-election. We can change that. And I know many of your senators are up for re-election as well. We can get the majority in the Senate. That will put us in so much of a better position because those of us in the House, we're fighting for all the conservative issues that we all hold dear to us. We know we can turn this economy around. We know we can do all these things. The problem is, even though we're the majority in the House, we're still the minority in Washington. And we have everything from the Senate to the president and the media against us. So it's an ongoing battle. And much many times the messaging gets mixed up and the real story is not told. So I need your help there, and the work that you do, again, is vital, and you work so hard. You helped me get elected. My folks back in District 2, my ladies back in District 2 worked endlessly, tirelessly to get me elected. And I appreciate every one of them. And we can do it, and we can fight, and we can win back the Senate. We can keep the majority in the House. Barack Obama wants to have his last 2 years the same as his first 2 years. He wants to have his last 2 years just like he passed Obamacare and Dodd-Frank and all of the other terrible regulations that they put forward that we're still fighting against now. Only he'll be able to complete his agenda, his liberal, progressive agenda, if he gets those last 2 years. That will be devastating. That will be devastating for the next couple of years, but into the future. It will take years for us to undo what he has put in place. I mean, again, we're still trying to undo everything he did, and he's in his second term now. Unfortunately, that, again, is the reality. But we're working hard in the Republican Women's Policy Committee. All of us, the women in Congress, there are 19 of us. That is only 8% of our conference. Very small and obviously not representative of the American people. So we need more women elected at all levels across this country, local to federal. At the federal level, I will say to you, if you have a woman who is running for Congress, consider her greatly, because we bring something to the table. I love my male colleagues. They're wonderful. But you know what? We're workhorses. We're not show horses. And I would encourage you to go to, if you go to rwpc.house.gov, or if you go to @ladiesgop, you will hook to our Twitter or our website, and you will see all the wonderful work that the Republican women in Congress are doing. There's so much legislation that we're putting forward. We help each other every day. We do this because we know we're doing it for our children and our families and for your children and for your grandchildren. There's no stronger voice than the women in conference, but we have to get more of them. When you see a picture of all of us together, you usually see a couple women in front there with the speaker and the majority leader and the whip, and that's because they have to have us standing around them to make it look like there's more of us. I would rather just elect more of us. And lastly, I want to talk to you about, well, two very important things. One, the other side of it, the political side of it, Project Grow through the NRCC. Here is another effort that we are putting forward and I am very involved with. And it's basically the effort, again, to get more Republican women elected, but also to message and to listen. You know, there's far too little listening going on in this country right now. We've got to start listening to each other so that we can do a better job. I'm doing it. I'm trying so hard to listen to every person that comes to me with an issue, because together, somehow, there's always something in there that we can find that we can work on, and that we can work on together, whether Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, doesn't matter. And I'm fighting for that. I'm fighting for that. But there again, we have to fix these problems. I'm a fixer. I'm a nurse. You have to identify the problem and acknowledge it before you can actually go in and fix it. And these are the ways that we feel strongly we can achieve that. So that is the other side of it. nrcc.projectgrow.gov, or excuse me, .org. nrccprojectgrow.org is again the political side of what we're doing as well. Reaching out, coming out to you and speaking to other women's groups across the country, again, to try to coalesce the support. Lastly, I do want to talk about one more policy issue that of course, you all are well aware of and that you know is coming. You know, this continuing resolution is still in flux because now the Senate has to act. We've done our job in the House. The will of the House has spoken. Now it's in the Senate's hands. And I would love to see a filibuster. I would love to see Harry Reid actually have to vote this time on defunding Obamacare. This is the first time that he has to actually acknowledge that we have sent over a defund Obamacare or repeal Obamacare. The rest of them have all sat on his desk. But he has to do something about it this time. And I hope that our Republican senators will be able to make the message known and work very hard with their Democrat colleagues, because you know a lot of them are up for re-election as well. And a lot of their constituents don't like Obamacare, as we all know. But we have to have a bridge to the debt ceiling issue, the debt ceiling negotiation. And that is one thing that we are, again, going to need full support on. You know, the president is out there saying there's not going to be any negotiations with this debt ceiling. I don't want to talk about anything. The Speaker of the House can't put anything else with this. I just want a straight up or down vote. Well, I will guarantee you he'll get a straight up or down vote. Is that, cut me off, right? Don't talk about the debt ceiling. Let's just say he gets an up or down vote, I will guarantee you it will go down, and it will go down hard, and it will go down with bipartisan support. He's not going to get a debt ceiling increase alone. What I will tell you is we worked very, very hard at some very, very good negotiation points here. Some excellent reforms, spending cuts, that's what we have to do. I don't want to continue to talk about debt ceiling increases. I want to get us to the point where we're talking about a balanced budget, where we're getting rid. We're about to hit $17 trillion in debt. And this will continue unless we keep fighting for these reforms. If we cut spending, if we put reforms in place that we know are the causes of that high spending at the federal level. So I will tell you, please stick with us. Listen to what we're putting forward, because it's very important. There are essential pieces that we must get past that any of us who are going to vote for a debt ceiling increase will have to have. And we're going to need full support. It's going to have to be significant, and the president is going to have to give in on it if he wants his debt ceiling increase. But I will tell you that many of us in Washington, especially the Republicans, are tired of this game. And if we don't get what we want, we will not vote to raise the debt ceiling, and we will default. And that is something President Obama does not want, because he is now building his legacy. And the last thing he wants is to be the president that defaulted to the debt, because he's, again, looking to make sure that he goes down in history as he wants it written. So we, again, stick with us. We're working hard. All of you, your faces, the work you do, so important again, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. I know I do, and I know all of my colleagues in Washington do. So thank all of you. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being here and coming here today, because you care so much about this country, because of your children, your grandchildren, the future of conservatism. God bless all of you. May God continue to bless this great country and our military. Thank you so much for your time.